let's address the obvious elephant in the room, not a pink elephant, although I'm sure your drawing of pink elephant will come up. I'm wearing the paisley tie again.
Why would you think that? Pink elephant? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. I've never drawn a pink elephant in my life. Sounds cool though. I'd love to see something like that. Whoever does that shit is a bad motherfucker. I'd subscribe to him immediately if I saw something like that.
Okay, let me just address this so that we all know what's going on here. I just wear the same thing every week on that day of the week. It's just a convenience thing. It's so I don't have to think about what I'm wearing. Paisley is one of my favorite patterns. This is gray. I'm wearing gray pants that match it and this nice white shirt. Take your shots. I don't care. I've gone long enough in this life. I'm 33 years old. I don't give a damn how people judge me. As long as I look sharp, I don't care if they think I wear the same thing every day. It doesn't matter to me. So go ahead, take your shots.
Right. Sharp. Actually, I have a professor that wore this killer sweater vest to school. I know I can't say that without sounding sarcastic, but I mentioned it to him and I haven't seen him wear it since. I'm just a sarcastic person, I guess.
There's been a theme, and it's been kind of a subtle theme, but an ongoing theme. Telltale Atheist, I know, is a well-versed in formal argumentation, as are a lot of YouTubers. But for those of you who don't, I want to explain a concept quickly called the straw man. A straw man argument is when somebody makes a claim, and then to counter that argument, the other person construes the initial claim as being something different because it's easier to attack.
Yeah, only bitches strawman people. Only losers that don't know how to argue, right?
Now, I'm not saying Telltale Atheist is strawmanning me on purpose, because it's an insult to say you're strawmanning someone.
Whoa, hold the fucking phone! What's all this then?
I'm not saying Telltale Atheist is doing that. He is on a very subtle level. I just want to kind of clarify what I represent. So, the denial of science, the denial of evolution, the Big Bang Theory, the age of the world has come up. And I've been in a position to where it's like I should have to defend those beliefs. I do not defend those beliefs.
He's right. I've brought up the standard Christian view on those beliefs a few times, and that's unfair. I'm supposed to be debating Nick the Sagacious, not Kent Hovind. So I should stick to debating the issues raised within the context of the debate. Unintentional straw man. Sorry about that.
I believe in evolution. I believe it's a mechanism that God created. I believe in the Big Bang Theory. It makes sense, and I think it makes sense with the Bible in going side by side with it. I don't believe the earth is 6,000 years old. A lot of these wacky beliefs, these people who claim to be scientists but are Christians first when they practice their science, I believe that's intellectually dishonest. Okay, I don't agree with that.
Unfortunately, the debate is nearing its end, but we did address a wide range of subjects. Hopefully, we adequately addressed whether or not God is real directly.
I am representing myself and my personal beliefs, and sometimes I change my beliefs, and sometimes, they reinforce themselves. But I do not represent most Christians. That's kind of why I do these things. And if you look at the description of my YouTube channel, it says I have an agenda. I want to spread tolerance and reasonableness, and I want to do that. I also want to spread my faith, but I'm not going to proselytize. I don't believe that's the effective way to spread your faith. I don't think you should ever shove it in someone's face or force them to do it.
That's an honorable way to approach the subject. I respect that greatly. And we share that opinion. Neither of us want to shove it in people's faces. I do have an in-your-face YouTube channel to some extent, but in real life, I don't shove it in anybody's face. I present them with the facts that I'm atheist, and from then on, I'm just a normal, nice person. My intentions are to show them that we aren't all monsters. There's a serious social stigma against atheists.
You should pose a question, let the other person become curious, and then address it. That's my approach. I lead a good life. I hope people see the good things in my life, and as they see those good works that I do, they will become curious, or they will ask me, and then I will explain to them this is just part of my faith. I don't hide my faith, but I don't shove it in people's faces.
That's exactly how I am in real life. Interesting that we both do the same things, which is to say we both act like regular good people in an attempt to show people that ours is the better way of living, isn't it? Now, I know this next comparison might feel unfair to you. If so, you can address it in your next video. The real difference between you converting people to Christianity through a good attitude and me pulling people out of religion through a good attitude is the fact that the extreme version of Christianity leads to the denial and death of scientific growth. I don't consider that another straw man because I'm not saying that it's what you believe. I'm saying that it's an inevitable byproduct of modern day Christianity.
I was criticized for my position on faith, how I take things on faith. The first faith definition was complete trust or confidence in. The second definition was strong belief in God. These are the definitions that Telltale Atheist came up with. And he says he doesn't use the term at all because it's associated with the second definition, strong belief in God. He thinks that because it's conflated with those two, we shouldn't use it, but they mean two different things. And I was using them interchangeably.
Actually, I said that I don't use the word. I have no problem with other people using the word faith. But I think it sets me up for somebody to say, you have faith in science, right? Of course, my response would be yes, going by the first definition. And their response will be, well, I have faith in God like you have faith in science. That doesn't work because my faith is based on a record of successful predictions and evidence. Faith in God excludes evidence.
Whenever I hear something that sounds like it can only work one way, what I do is I flip it the other way and I try to see how it works. An example of this would be if I was a person of color, a black person. I'm a pretty significant Mexican, but mostly white. But if I were to say, if I was a black guy, and I said, yeah, black power, right? Then that would be perfectly acceptable in our society. Flip it around. If I'm a white guy, say I'm all white, no Mexican in me, and I say, white power. Shit, you guys are gonna cut that clip out.
You know I can't do that, buddy. But I gave you a cute little censor. I hope that does the trick. I don't think anybody realizes what you said. You should be in the clear.
I hope that doesn't get used against me later. But if I were to say white power...
Jesus in heaven! Watch your mouth. The social justice warriors might be watching. Keep digging that hole. One day I won't be there to censor you.
Right? What happens? I look like a racist. I look terrible, right? It's bad. That's a double standard, right? It doesn't work when you flip it around, okay?
I want to preface this next bit with a disclaimer. I am not a social justice warrior. I believe we have the freedom to say whatever the fuck we want. We aren't protecting free speech so we can talk about apple pie. We're protecting it so that no subject is off the table, no matter how vile. I believe in that. This is an interesting subject in itself, and I could talk about this for a while. I'll give you the bottom line. An Armenian Pride Day is acceptable in Turkey or Armenia, but not a Turkish Pride Day. That's because the Turks were the oppressors, and even went as far as to commit a genocide against the Armenians. In addition to that, the phrase white power has historically been associated with the KKK and racism in general. The word power implies that it's a struggle between whites and other races that aren't white. A more appropriate term might be white pride, but even that is politically charged. For now, if we're trying to be politically correct, we'll have to settle for Scottish pride or Irish pride or even Texan pride, whatever. But I am definitely not a social justice warrior. I think it's a destructive, regressive cancer in our society that opposes free speech. And anything that opposes free speech opposes me.
I do this all the time when you have like female privileges versus male privileges. If you flip them around, you know, like it's popular on TV to say, oh, all men are dumb, ha, ha, ha. But if you say all women are dumb, ha, ha, all of a sudden you're a misogynist. It's a stupid double standard.
Also, third-wave feminist ideas aren't fighting for equality. They're fighting for superiority. There are countless articles written by third-wave feminists with titles like, I'm trying not to hate men, and I hate men. Yes, I'm a feminist. No, not all feminists hate men. Let's just insert any other demographic in there and see how it sounds. I'm trying not to hate all black people. Or, I hate black people. Yes, I'm a feminist. No, not all feminists hate black people. That really puts it in context, doesn't it? It's misandry at its worst.
Well, take this with your faith example. If using the second definition of faith, I have a strong belief in God. Yes, I do. I define my faith the same way.
Oh, you're such a square. Only squares believe in God.
Let's use the second example, or the first example, complete trust or confidence. So if I have faith in God, I have complete trust or confidence in God. It works both ways. So I can use these things interchangeably, and I don't believe I'm being intellectually dishonest.
Sure, both definitions work with respect to God. Now let's flip it around and apply both definitions to faith in something else. Say, faith that my daughter will be safe when she goes to school. Definition 1. I have complete confidence in the faculty that they will keep her safe. Definition 2. I have a strong belief in God or his doctrines that the faculty will keep her safe. That has nothing to do with God. Where was God during Columbine, Sandy Hook, Fort Myers, Taft, California, Houston, Texas in 2013? We can't trust God to protect our kids. And the second definition doesn't apply to anything but that. You can only reverse the first definition to fit. You can't reverse the second definition.
I think if you have a strong belief in God and you call it faith, that's fine. But I work with both definitions. And the first definition works better. Complete trust or confidence in God is the first definition, and I stick with that one. I also have a strong belief in God, but it is led by the first definition. So I don't think that that point is well received here. I think it works both ways.
Okay, the original argument was that I have faith that my car won't break down, so why is it so difficult to have faith in God? For the sake of argument, let's just throw out the second definition and say that faith is complete confidence in someone or something. In that sense, I do not have complete confidence that my car won't break down. I know it's possible that it might. For that matter, I don't really have complete trust or confidence in anyone or anything. I will grant trust tentatively, and trust builds as relationships form, but I don't trust anything unconditionally unless there's direct, indisputable evidence for it. I'm sure you might agree with the next bit, but even in your mind, the evidence for God is not indisputable. That's why we're here disputing it.
So the next section there is the evidence for God versus evidence for unicorns. He said we have the exact same amount of evidence for God as the evidence we have for unicorns. Well, honestly, I feel a little bit under-equipped to handle this one because I don't know what evidence we have for unicorns.
Aside from North Korea's claim that they proved the existence of unicorns, nothing. We're assuming that there is no evidence for it. Insert anything in there. Fairies, dragons, whatever.
And I just had this conversation with another friend of mine on Facebook the other day.
I think of you as a friend too, buddy. Does that mean when I shred a Christian, I can say, it's okay, some of my best friends are Christian?
I believe almost all these conversations about faith always boil down to what the burden of evidence is. Just because something's old doesn't mean that it's true, and it doesn't mean that it's false, right? If you have, what you do is you find the old thing, the old claim, right? Something written down in an old book, and then you try to find corresponding evidence, whether physical evidence, like if you found a Noah's Ark, you actually found the bones of it somewhere, or you find a grave that had some of the things that was written about. Nice physical evidence. Yeah, we don't have much of that.
But I have to point out that even if we did have physical evidence of Noah's Ark, that doesn't mean the whole Bible is true, much less that the God of the Bible did it. If we had evidence that Noah's flood actually literally happened, it would just be proof that there was a worldwide flood. How do we know that the book of Genesis was written by the same person that wrote about the flood? How do we know that all the other 65 books of the Bible were inspired by God? For that matter, how do we know that the book of Genesis was inspired by God? It could just be some guy making up a story about it in an attempt to explain what happened. We don't know any of that stuff. We're just taking its word for it. I know this sounds like a cop-out, but this is a serious logical pathway that needs to be followed if you're being intellectually honest. If you liked this, you can subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Just click the annotations.